Yo, this is Bill Staxx from Chattin with Staxx, and you're watching Thomas Berryman TV.
So today we got Bill Staxx chatting with Staxx on Thomas Berryman TV, and we're here to talk about his life. And he's got a few good stories from us that I think is gonna really be enjoyed by a lot of people. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate you taking the time and having me on.
Do you mind telling us about like where you grew up and how when you first started getting into a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, so I grew up in Bristol, Connecticut. I'm 43 years old. I was born in 1979. My name's Bill Staxx, and I'm from the East Coast, Bristol, Connecticut, same place where ESPN is. Aaron Hernandez is from the same town as me. The oldest theme park in the USA is in my town. There's a lot of famous things associated with my town. Babe Ruth played baseball in a baseball field that's here. There's a lot of different things, but the only thing that Bristol really ever gave me was a prison cell, and a lot of enemies with people, because when I was a young man, I was getting into trouble. I had problems in school. I ended up joining the rival gang of the kids that were in my school, because I was looking for acceptance in a group of people. So what happened was I was wilding out with these kids. We were going crazy, man. I mean, stealing cars, doing burglaries. It was craziness, selling drugs. It was never knowing what was going to happen the next day, the next second. It was always constantly something going on, court case, assaults, robberies, it's just craziness. So there was always a case going on. So I'm involved with these people for quite a while. Now there's a rumor that gets back to the president that I'm having sex with his girlfriend. There's a rumor that I'm sleeping with the president's girlfriend. Now, that rumor was bullshit. It wasn't true. And so they called me up and said, hey, we're going to go meet these girls at the park. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to come. Like, of course. So, but at the time, I was a sergeant of arms in this organization. So I had the guns, and I had them at my house. And so they pulled up. They didn't think of all this before this happened. They didn't think of the repercussions of things. And, they just figured, oh, this is what's happening. We're going to do this, and that's it. They didn't think down the road of what would happen if all this transpired. So what happened was they picked me up. I got in the car. I didn't have a weapon on me. I left the guns in the house. So I get in the car. Everything's normal. And we pull up to this park in Bristol. It's called Page Park. They pull in the car. There's about 6 of them, plus me. Yeah. So we get out of the car and we start walking up. Everyone's talking. We're talking. People are smoking. It's just like some people are drinking. It's like a group of guys, tall guys. And there's like a cement barrier across the road. There's a pond, there's cement barrier, and the road goes up, and it's woods on both sides. So they're like, yo, we're going to meet the girls right up here. We're supposed to meet them right up here. So I'm just walking. I'm not thinking anything. And I'm with the group as we walk. And one guy turns around and he just hit me. Ooh. And like I wasn't expecting it, it was a sucker punch. And so I get hit, and my nose splatters, instant blood flow. So I put my hands up, start fighting. But there's so many of them. Yeah. It was like 6 or 7 dudes. Like, these are big dudes, man. And like they're older. Some of them are older. So what they did was, some of them came from Hartford, because the chapter that I was affiliated with was from Hartford, and the people from Hartford came and they were with them, and so I start fighting, and I just can't fight all these guys, man, and I end up on the ground, and
Yeah.
I just try to protect myself the best I could. They're kicking me in the face. They're stomping on my body. They're stomping me like, and it seems like it's going on forever, man. It seems like it's not gonna end. Like, like I'm holding like that, bam, getting kicked in the face, stomped in the ribs. Another guy's trying to grab my leg. Another guy's jumping on it, trying to break my legs. Like it was severe beating, man. And when the beating was over, I remember one of them pulled my shoe off and threw it at me. And I think one of them spit on me too. And then they left. They got in the car, took off. And I'm bloody as hell, man. I'm leaking. I'm black and blue all over my whole head. My whole body's battered up. And I remember my knee really hurt because my knee got hyperextended because one of the guys was holding my leg and the other one stomped both feet on my leg and my knee like hyperextended the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I dragged myself to my brother lived a few blocks away. It was probably maybe a mile away. And I went through backyards because I thought these guys were going to come back. I knew these guys. I was with them every day. We used to do shit like this to people a lot. Like, I not to get sidetracked, but one time we were having a meeting, and we used to have big meetings, man, in the back of this apartment. Sometimes there would be in parks, sometimes there would be in different places. So one time we're having a meeting at this back of this house, and the sun's just starting to go down, and one of the kids is around the front of the building, and they see somebody that we have problems with, and it's two of them, and they're walking, and they said, "Get them!" And everybody just ran out, and they chased these two kids down. Dude ran up. One of the kids just stopped, and he was scared. He put his hands up, and he's like, he didn't want no problems. And one of my friends ran up to him and smashed him in the face with a 40 bottle, right in the face, man, knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then they just jumped on like a pack of rabid dogs. It's a pretty gang mentality is pretty crazy when it comes to other people getting people riled up to do things, because it just in prison is the same way. Once someone gets beat up, or once they feel that adrenaline of it's like a frenzy, and they feed off that. And it doesn't care how bad you're hurting the person or anything. They're savagely beating on people. I've seen it, and it's happened to me. And so I show up at my brother's house. I knock on the door. His baby's mother answers the door. Oh my God. Because my face was so rocked, man. She didn't even recognize me. So she's like, "Do you want me to call the police?" And no. So I get a ride to my house, and I have the guns at the house. My first thought. My first thought is I want to kill them. That's my plan. That's what I want to do. So the next day, I get a phone call, and it's the girl I'm accused of sleeping with. And she tells me, "They made a mistake. Come down there. They want to talk to you. They know it's not true." She was telling me things like that, trying to get me to come with her. I'm like, "You afraid?" So when she called me, I didn't know at the time any of the other stuff that I know now. You know what I mean? From the other side. Yep. But I know now. So she pulled up to my house, right? And I have a gun pointed out the window at her.
Yeah.
And because I mean, at this point in my life, I really didn't care about anything. I didn't really have anything to live for. I lived like that. And for a long time, like
Yeah.
I didn't have any motivation to do the right thing. I didn't
Yeah.
have anything to look forward to in the future. Things weren't looking bright for me. I didn't think I would survive past 18 years old. I didn't even think I'd make it that far
Yeah.
when I was this young. So she convinces me to go, but I bring a gun with me, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I think that they were trying to convince me was because I had the weapons and they wanted them back. But I'm not giving them back. But that's dead, man. Like, that's a dead issue. You're not getting nothing back. It's a wrap. Like,
Yeah.
so we pull up to the house, right? And they're having a meeting in the backyard. Now I'm nervous as hell. Like, I'm thinking these guys are going to kill me. Like, they already beat the shit out of me pretty severely. Like, I'm thinking they want to just finish me off, like, type shit.
Yeah.
So I come walking up, and one of the guys who I was really good friends with, he was one of my brothers from the Hartford chapter, was there, and he was able to make decisions. So he made these dudes get bounces. He made them get bounces from each other. All the people who were involved with beating me up had to bounce each other.
Wow.
So I was able to pick each person who were on that person. And it kind of felt good to do that. But so after all
Yeah.
that was done, they said that they wanted me to come back and basically act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Basically, just like, you made a mistake and blah, blah, blah. We'll just move on from here. But that wasn't the way I was feeling,
Yeah.
because I was still pissed off. I was like, nah, man, nah,
Yeah.
it's done. Like, you showed me your loyalty. I believed in this shit wholeheartedly. Like, this was my family. This was my whole life since I was a young kid. What do you mean? Like, fuck that. No, no,
Yeah.
I was ready to die for these people. And that shit crushed me, man. But I knew that I had to just stand on my own, and I had to go to prison. I had a prison sentence pending at the time. I had to go to prison, and I was either going to go to prison as a gang member or I was going to go to prison as myself.
Yeah.
I chose to go to prison as myself. And I think it was the best decision I ever made, even though it wasn't the easiest road going through prison without a gang backing me up.
Yeah.
I didn't back down from any fights, and I didn't let anyone take advantage of me. And I stood by those rules, and I survived, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't wish anybody to have to go through the things that I went through, especially as a young man. Like, every young man out there doesn't have to go to prison to learn from their mistakes. Like, I've been to prison so many times, in and out and in and out. It's like, it gets to be like, what are you doing with yourself? All this time wasted. You sit in prison and you're not doing nothing with your life, man. You're just sitting there and time's passing by. Everyone else is living their life. Things are moving on, and you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I read books when I was in there. I tried to better myself. But when I got out, I did the same shit. I went back to the streets, the same bullshit. I was drinking alcohol, on drugs. I really didn't get a grip on things until I had enough of the living that way, living life. And but it took a lot of bullshit to get to where I am today,
Yeah.
like going to prison. So after this, these people are telling me they want me to come back. I tell them no,
Yep.
I'm walking away. So I did that. I walked away. And That was a
That's
difficult
tough.
thing to do because they were everything to me, man. They were my best friends.
Yep.
Like every day, this was every day. It was like fucking heartbreaking for me. It wasn't about getting beat up. It wasn't about none of that shit. It was about the loyalty. It was about the disloyalty. It was about all of it mixed, man.
Yeah.
And so when I ended up going to prison, people would ask me to be down with different gangs constantly.
Mm.
Constantly, they were trying to recruit me because they knew that what I was about, man. Not saying I was the baddest dude, but I was ready to put in work, but not for them. For
Yeah.
what? Why am I going to put work in for you? I
Yeah.
don't need to deal with all that shit. And my suggestion to anybody out there, if you have to go to prison, do not join a gang. Stay on your own. You don't have to join a gang to make it through prison. You do not have to do that. If you join a gang, you're just going to cause problems for yourself. Their problems become your problems right when you join. And me joining the gang at a young age, it was my friends who were with the other gang. I couldn't be friends with them no more. It
Yeah.
was like it didn't matter if I grew up with them my whole life. It didn't matter that my family knew them or their parents. It didn't matter. None of that mattered. They're in the rival gang. That means I gotta kill them or do something to them before they do something to me. And that was the way it was. Like we're on the streets, we're driving in the car and we see somebody in the rival gang and they're eating in a pizza restaurant, just say, because this happened one time. I'm using that as a reference.
Yeah.
He's in the pizza restaurant with his girlfriend and their kid, right? And we had a meeting that week and they said it's a green light on these guys. So, hey, I see one of them. What are we going to do? Run up in the pizza restaurant, punch him in the face, right in front of his wife, his kid, and it didn't matter. None of that matters. There's no rules. There's
Yeah.
not rules to this. Like they don't say, oh, when you see your enemy, if they're with their wife and kids, don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
Don't hurt them. It's not like that.
Yeah.
When you see them, you see them. It doesn't matter if they're with their kids, their wife, or any of that shit.
It's on.
It's on. Like it doesn't matter.
That's
It's
crazy,
insane,
man.
man. Especially back then,
Yeah.
the way they would get into these certain gangs. One of them, I remember the way the recruitment process. They would have people hiding underneath people's cars in the mall parking lot, and when they would slice their Achilles tendon,
Oh, shit.
and the person would just drop, and for them to hide underneath the car and do that, that would mean that they have the cojones to do
Yeah.
some other shit, whatever they needed them to do. But I remember that specifically because just the
Yeah.
brutality of that. It's insane.
That's nuts, man.
Like some of the like if you cause an infraction,
Yep.
if you make a mistake, you get punished. There's different ways for them to punish you. And I've seen it on the street and I've seen it in prison. And
Yep.
it's not good thing either way. I mean, I've had bounces out in the street. A bounce is when you have to put your hands up against the wall and they count down. And if they got a guy on each side of you and they're punching you in your stomach, your ribs, your back, and they put time on the clock on however long whatever you did, the severity of your crime.
He's
You have to
getting
hold your
beaten.
hands against the wall and you get beat. And if your hands drop, the time starts over.
Oh, man.
And if you can't take it, they beat the shit out of you and you're done. You can't be with us. Like that's just how it is. They would test you constantly. It was always a test. We would always be in the woods fighting each other just to get good at whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
Like we were constantly fighting each other. That one thing about that I didn't understand. It was like we were always being violent with each other.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what are we doing this for, man? Because then you're beating on somebody, you feel bad,
Yeah. Like
and
that's
then
your
they're
friend.
supposed to be your brother. Like it's supposed to be
Yeah.
your brother, but you're beating on them. That's not cool, man.
That's
Like
fuck.
anyone that loves you doesn't beat on you.
Yeah. Man,
It's
that's
crazy.
insane. Fuck.
So then
Uh,
get into prison and seeing people do something, an infraction in the gang. So
yeah.
one time I'm sitting there on my bunk. This is in Hartford Correctional Center. And it was one of the Spanish gangs. I think it was the Nietas or the Latin Kings. It was one of those. Um, this person did something. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to do drugs. So
Yeah.
I think they got caught doing drugs or something like that. And they had to go kneel on the bed, right? And the guy comes up and he has a shower shoe and smacking the bottom of the guy's feet. Bam, bam, bam. I'm like, what the fuck? And then, man, do you know how bad that hurts, man?
Yeah, man. Fuck.
Severe stuff like that, man. Beatings, like people getting bounces were crazy. People would have broken ribs like that too.
Yeah. Man, do you remember your first night
Insane.
in there? Like,
My first night in prison?
yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I told you I walked in and they said, we're going
Yeah.
to kill the white boy in 6 cell.
Man.
So I'm looking around and my cellie's black. So I'm like, I'm the white boy in 6 cell. I'm like, but so I have a little, they don't give you no pen. They give you a little pencil like this big, and you get like a plastic spoon when you eat lunch.
Yeah.
And normally it's on lockdown and stuff. They bring it to you in your cell if you're on lockdown. So that all I had for a weapon was a little pencil and a spork, a spoon
Oh
for it.
man.
And I started sharpening it, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
you ain't killing me. I the first man, I
Oh,
didn't know what these people looked like. All I could hear is their voices. I'm in the
yeah.
cell, right? So I could hear these voices saying, we're gonna kill you in the morning, blah, blah, blah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm ready. Inside, I was scared,
Yeah.
but I knew I talked to so many people. I didn't really know what to expect, but you know, what I seen on TV and all that, I'm thinking I'm gonna come out there and they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
So the door pops in the morning. You gotta eat breakfast, right?
Yeah.
So the door pops. I go out there and I look, and these kids are huge, huge, like huge, man. Like they're not kids. No, like they made a mistake, man. No,
Yeah.
that kid's not 12. Kid
Yeah.
looks like he's 36. He's fucking huge. I'm talking jacked, man. Like
Yeah.
it looks like they're on steroids.
Just
These
working out
kids,
every day.
man, every day. So I come walking out, right?
Yeah.
But no one does nothing. No one's coming at me. I'm just looking, and everyone's filed out to the door to grab their trays. And there's little tables in the tier where
Yeah.
you grab your tray and you eat. So I'm like, this is weird. Why isn't anyone coming and attacking me? Because I'm thinking they said that's what
Yeah.
they were gonna do when the door opened. So I'm waiting for it to happen. Like what? But nothing happens. So I'm like, okay. So I get in the line. I grab my tray. I go and I sit down at one of the tables, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know any of these people, man. Like these people are from different cities around my state,
Yeah.
but I don't know any of them. I'm from a small town, but I only mess with a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And I'm eating, and this dude comes walking up. This black kid comes walking up, and he says, "Get up." And I'm like, "No, no." And I just kept eating, and I turned my back on. It was the worst thing I ever did, man.
Oh shit.
So I was like, nah. And I just ignored him and went to eating. and
Yeah.
he hit me right in the back of the head with the tray.
Yeah.
It was like bam, and
Although
then
that.
I just get up and we start fighting, and big melee breaks out. The goon squad rushes in. They mace us. It's craziness, man.
Yeah.
And that was the start of my going to SAG, coming out, going to SAG, coming out. It
Yeah.
was like a revolving door. It was always getting into fights.
Yeah.
And then the cell gangsters in that place, ridiculous, man. They sit in back of the cell, running their mouth. It reminds me of these trolls out here. Yeah, you know who
Yeah.
I'm talking to. Running your mouth from behind the screen. But when the door pops, your ass ain't doing that shit.
Yeah.
It's all church mice and shit when the door pops. So um it
I
was
thought that
crazy.
story was gonna go different. Like, you go, that was the best thing I ever did. And
No, man. No.
I hear it.
So
Yeah.
it gets to a point where I'm fighting in there so much
Yeah.
that it's getting to be ridiculous. Like they let me out, I go into a housing unit, fight breaks out, and I just go right back.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Like, so what they thought of is the jail thought of this. They go,
Yeah.
if we give this kid a job, maybe he'll change. Maybe it'll help him or whatever. I don't know. The counselor or something was in touch with my parents and
Yeah.
well, my mother, and they decided to give me a job in the laundry. So,
Wow.
and that changed things for me. Once I went from SAG to the laundry, I started working and getting relationships with these people, these kids in there, and they were cool, man. These kids were
Wow.
cool kids. They just did something wrong, but a lot of them had very heinous crimes. They were in there for killing their parents. Some of them were in there for shootings. One of them was in a nightclub and opened fire on a bunch of people. Another kid stabbed his mom with a samurai sword. Um, there was just crazy crimes. Another kid had a crush on a girl and he killed her in school. Um, just craziness. Like,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of them, a lot of crazy cases. Another kid I went to school with shot a lady in an attempted robbery at a store at a gas station, and he was in there. Um, the rival gang member, so I was in 20 Love, and the rival gang for 20 Love back then was Pump Nation. The rival gang member's president was locked up in NYI while I was there. And I'm like, oh.
Um,
So can you imagine, man?
yeah.
I'm in a gang infested prison.
Yeah.
I'm out of the gang. I'm not in the gang anymore.
Yeah. So no one
So I'm
backing
in,
you up there.
yeah, I got no backup with the gang. Like, so it's like, what do you do, man? You just survive. You put your back against the wall and you clench your fists and you just
Yeah.
go all out. You don't. And another thing, man. So I get a visit, right? I go to visit my mother. I have the jumpsuit on and they have sleeves like this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there at the visit and I had a little tattoo on my arm. It said outlaw, right? It was a stick and poke one.
Yeah.
And my mother seen a glimpse of it, but I'm behind the glass. We're behind the glass. And she goes, "What's that on your arm?" And I go, "Nothing, nothing." I'm like, "Nothing." She
Yeah.
goes, "Lift up your sleeve." I'm like, "No, no."
Yeah.
I'm in the back of the glass. Like, no. She goes, "Lift up your sleeve." I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like that. That was the second tattoo
Yeah.
she ever found on me. The first one, I was 13 years old when she found that one on my ankle. But so I remember that visit like it was yesterday, man. And
Wow.
I had a black eye when I
Yeah.
came to the visit, right? So I'm in the visit, and my mom's like, you know, that feeling when you're in a crazy situation and something's about to happen and you get that lump in your throat and you feel that.
It's like your
And I'm like,
sixth sense or something going on.
yeah. She
Yeah.
goes, when you get that, just swallow that lump and just smash them. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
growing up, I was always looking for permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Wow.
kind of holding back, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't go all the way with it, like, but after she said that,
Yeah.
man, right when she left that visit, I attacked a guy
Yeah.
in the visiting area. Right when the door shut and it went click, I
Yeah.
attacked him. And
Yeah.
he was visiting his family
Yeah.
while I attacked him.
Unleash the beast.
I wasn't gonna take the shit no more, man. I was gonna let them know, like, I'm not fucking around.
Yeah.
Like, you fuck with me, I'm gonna fight you back.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gonna be at a time when you least expect it, man.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. The dude's fucking with me in the dorm or in the cottage, and my mother tells me, "Don't worry about it. Just handle your business." Right when the door clicked, I got up, bam, back to SAG.
Shit.
It was
Yeah.
constant, man. It was like a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And then, so when I finally got that job in the laundry, things started to change and I started getting used to it there. And I would be going around. I'd collect the sheets off each of the cell doors. I would be walking with the CO and another inmate, and we would collect the sheets off the doors, put them in this basket, and push it around. And then we'd go to the laundry department. We'd wash them in these big washers, and then dry them. And then we would wear these jumpsuits, these tan jumpsuits with short sleeves with collars, and they would have our name and our inmate number on. It was like a white sticker,
Yeah.
but you had to heat it up. It was like a patch,
Yeah.
and it like it like stuck to your jumpsuit. So once you got to this prison, they had this machine where you put the jumpsuit into it and you clamp the thing down and it heats it up, and the patch melts onto the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
So that was my job. I would clamp it down and it would heat up, and then it would go clink, and then I would unclamp it and I'd put it over there and let it cool off.
Wow.
So I would take the next inmate's name, and so I had access
Yeah,
to
all the
everybody's
information.
name, all the information.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm doing this, one of the head, because there's like a head inmate who works in the laundry department. The head
Yeah.
inmate comes over to me, and the guard is off doing something. He's off on a break, eating a sandwich or whatever he was doing. The head inmate comes up to me and says, "Staxx, I need you to do me a favor." I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "Go watch the door for a minute." I'm like, "All right." So I just go over and I'm just watching the door. I'm looking down this big long hallway. It's in MYI.
Yeah.
Send you a picture. I'll send you a picture of it.
All right.
I'll send you a picture of the exact hallway I was looking down.
Wow.
So I'm looking down this hallway, and these dudes grab this kid that we're working with,
Yeah.
and they drag him over to this machine that I was working on, and they put his hand in the machine, and they clamped it down, and he's screaming, bro,
Yeah.
and it's melting his skin.
Holy shit.
And these kids are like laughing, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like blood curdling screams. And I'm just looking out the door like,
Yeah.
it was crazy, man. They unclamped it and the kid fell on the ground. And the CO comes running back. They call a code. They end up taking him out. It was an accident. All of us said it was an accident. And they believed them.
Wow.
They believed them. We all kept working like it was nothing.
That's insane.
And things like that would happen all the time. These kids were ruthless, man. They would prepare the food, they would poison people, they would put things in their food, they put
Wow.
nair in their shampoo. Their people's hair would fall off, all their
Oh,
eyebrows would fall out. They would have no hair on their body because they would put nair inside people's like body wash. So
wow.
they'd be in the shower thinking they're taking a shower. So just picture this, right? An
Yeah.
inmate, he's a kid, young kid, he's probably 15.
Yeah.
He has what, probably 40 years for killing somebody.
Yeah.
And his family's sending him money, but he's getting extorted by the gang. So they're sending him money, but he's giving it to the gang members because he has to pay to live there.
Yeah.
And these kids have none but time. So all they do is they fuck with people. They'll
Yeah.
steal his shampoo, his body wash, put the nair in it, go put it back, and then the kid will go to take a shower, all his fucking hair will fall off.
Man.
It
That's
was crazy things like that.
yeah.
Man, that's just a small thing. Like
Man. That's crazy at the
yeah.
end too. I thought you were gonna say like change someone's name on there or something. Like
No,
melt
they
this kid's
no,
fucking head.
yeah, they clamped his hand to
Holy
the machine, man. They
shit.
clamped it down, and it was severe. It was bad. I've seen
Yeah.
some bad beatdowns in that jail, in that prison, MYI.
Yeah. Was everyone
And
always paranoid then? Like the shampoo, food, everything? Was everyone like, man? Or
no, because it was all gang members, man. You're in
ah,
cells, so you're
yeah,
just with another person.
yeah.
Now, like, so, and it was 23-hour lockdown, 23 hours a day. You're in that cell,
Wow.
and that's a pretty rough one for kids,
Yeah.
13, age 13 through I believe it was 23 or something. I think it was 13. I really don't know what it went up to. I think 19, maybe 19 or something,
Yeah.
13 to 19. They sent me off when I turned 17 or 18, and they shipped me off to the adult prison.
Wow.
So, but I got into a fight before they shipped me off over a TV, but we'll get to that. um, so I'm working in this laundry room, and I'm in C Cottage, I believe at the time. This is an MYI. If you remember C Cottage, shout out to all my dogs that were in C Cottage with me. Um, there was a dude in there from Waterbury, and he was a punk, man. And I just got my TV, right? I was in there for about a year, and I didn't have a TV for a whole year.
Yeah.
23 hours lockdown. I did the whole year, no TV. That's brutal, bro. People
Yeah.
do 20 years no TV. I don't know how they do it. Like
Yeah.
I I needed something to distract my mind because I
Yeah.
didn't know how to live with myself yet, you know?
Yeah.
Now I know how to live with myself, and I'm happy with myself. I can be alone and not be lonely. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So back then, I get the TV. I'm happy as hell. This is like the best day of my life. I got a TV, man. I'm in a cell,
Yeah.
23-hour lockdown. I got a TV, but my cellie doesn't have one.
Uh,
So that's where the problems start.
yeah.
Because then he's like, you got one and I don't. You think you're better than me? It took me a whole year to save up the money to get a TV.
Yeah.
These TVs cost a lot of money in prison. They're like $500 for a
Wow.
tiny one. For a tiny TV, it's small, man.
Yeah.
So I get on my bunk, right? I got a top bunk at the time. I'm watching Jerry Springer, I think it was. So the kid gets up and changes the channel. I'm like, bro, don't touch my TV. I jump down and I change the channel back, and I get back up on the bed. And he gets back up and he changes the channel again.
Uh,
So we're in this like battle, the channel battle, right?
yeah.
So I jump down off my bed and I'm like, bro, don't touch my fucking TV. Like, don't touch my shit. And he turned around and went to the door and looked out the cell window to see if the guard was around.
Yeah.
When he did that, I just jumped on him. I like jumped off the toilet and I grabbed him like that and I started choking him. And I
Yeah.
just started choking him. He's trying to hit me and shit, but I'm choking him and he's
Yeah.
slamming my back against the metal rail of the bunk bed. Bam, bam. And we're fighting, man. But I got him. I got it locked. I got the
Yeah.
headlock locked. So he's starting to pass out and he passes out and I fall on the bed, right?
Yeah.
I just got him. I just got him like this. And
Oh.
he's he starts waking up and he's like, and I'm like, "You're gonna stop? You're gonna stop?" And he's like, "No, no." And I'm like, and I'm just, and he just goes back out. And then he wakes up again and I'm like, "You're gonna stop?" And he's like, and I just did it again. I'm telling you, I did it like 10 times, man. I had to
Oh,
keep doing. He wasn't gonna stop, bro. I'm
yeah.
like, fucking chill out, man.
Yeah. It's from
So
Jerry Springer.
yeah, like I want my Jerry Springer, man. I'm a young kid. I want
Yeah.
to see some fucking fighting and shit. I want to see some
Yeah.
craziness.
Yeah.
So the guard sees we're in a fight and she comes in, they break it up and they bring us to SEG. They take my TV and put it in whatever. They like hold your stuff.
Yeah.
But when you go to SEG, other inmates have to pack your shit up. So usually they steal all your stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you're cool with people and they like you, they'll throw some stuff in there. But normally they'll take most of your stuff will be gone. But my TV wasn't gone. So that's all I cared about, man.
Wow. Yeah, it would have been
So
on.
yeah, it wouldn't matter though, because if they took the TV,
Yeah.
you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
What what are you gonna do about it? They take your shit, it's just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, your name is on inscribed on the TV, right? I've seen people get their TV stolen. People would steal their TVs. If you're not gonna fight back for your stuff, then they're gonna take your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. But so they used to buff the floors with these buffers, but they would take a piece of the buffer and they would scratch the name off with it and polish the plastic so it would look brand new. You wouldn't even know there was a name, and then they would scribe their own name on it. You 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 make a gun, a scribe gun
Yeah.
out of a motor and a pen. You
Wow.
attach the motor to the pen and it can etch things. You can
Yeah.
etch things with it. And it looks the same, man. It looks exactly like an etch gun.
Wow.
It's insane. I
Yeah.
used to do it for people on their Walkmans. I used to do it for people on TVs, on their headphones, because
Wow.
your name is on everything. Your name and your inmate number is on every piece of equipment you own in the prison. It's
Yeah.
on your CDs, it's on your tapes, it's on your clothes, it's on everything. Has
Yeah.
your name and your inmate number. So all your electronics, that's a really good hustle to have in prison is put names on, and inmate numbers on different items.
Yeah.
And so we're in SEG. We're across the hall from each other, right? And the guard can see us. When you're in SEG, they keep a closer eye on you
Yeah.
because you're like being bad in jail, you
Yeah.
know. You're being bad in prison. It's kind of like the prison in prison.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, why wouldn't you just leave the fucking TV alone? I'm trying to talk to him. Like, bro, I thought me and you were right here, man. Like, what the fuck? I thought we were right here.
Yeah.
And the guard saw me doing this.
Oh.
So they write down, affiliate me with 20 Love. The gang that I
Yeah.
got jumped out of.
Oh.
So then they tell me to pack my shit. I don't got no shit. I got I have a sheet and a shower shoe. I think I only had one at the time, bro. Someone
Yeah.
stole my other shower shoe. I think I had one shower shoe, fucking sheet. And they're like, pack your shit. You're going to the gang prison.
Oh man.
I'm like, what for what? They're like for affiliation with 20 Love. I'm like, come on, man. You can't be serious, bro. They were serious. They brought me to Gardner Correctional Institution. This was 1997, 98, 1998. From 1998 turning into 1999, I was there for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I remember.
Wow.
Eminem came out that year. I
Yeah.
remember that. Shout out to Eminem. If you see this, man, I appreciate you. You got me through that little stint in prison that time.
Wow.
But I was pissed off when Eminem came out because I was a white rapper and I wanted to make it rapping, man. And he made it first. So I was a
Yeah.
little pissed off.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
another person I ran across while my time in this prison was Ivory Hancock. Shout out to Ivory Hancock, man. He was my bunkie for quite a few months, and he's a really good friend, and we're friends to this day. And he knows how wild it was in this prison, and you're about to find out right after this. So, they bring me to this gang prison. It's called Gardner Correctional Institution in Newtown, Connecticut. And it is a brutal prison where they bring gang members to try to get them to denounce the gang. That's their goal there. It used to be. They changed the whole prison now. It's something totally different. But back then, that's what this place was. It was a gang prison where they have the gang members denounce the gang. At first, they put you in a cell with your same gang members. Then they put you in a cell with rival gang members. And they try to integrate you back into the population, but you got to sign these papers. It's a bunch of crazy shit. Crazy shit. The government has you jump through hoops to get out of a gang. But
that's
anyway,
nuts,
I come walking in. I got my cart, right? So this place is set up, got cells on the top, cells on the bottom, and there's solid doors with a long little slit, right? I come walking in. I'm 17, 18 years old. I think they transferred me a couple days before my 18th birthday. So I'm walking because when they first put me in the cell in this adult prison, this is my first time stepping foot in an adult prison.
Yeah.
Because I already was in jail before in Hartford Correctional Facility, but that's a jail. That's different.
Yep.
This is a prison. Like I'm already past the jail point and I'm in prison now. So I go to my cell and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, man. They got porcelain toilets there. It's like a supermax prison. Wow. 23-hour lockdown. And the people there are scary looking. Yeah. And it's a very dangerous place, man. So my first interaction is I have this. They try to put this guy in my cell. I remember there was this guy. They come walking in and they're like, this guy's got to come in your cell. But I had the bottom bunk at the time because I didn't have a cell. Yeah. So they're like, this guy, I'm like, I don't want him in my cell. No. Yeah. Like, so I'm contesting it, right? I'm like, no. The guy looks like a weirdo, straight up. He looks like a weirdo. Yeah. He looks like an older guy, like just a real creepy guy, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want this fucking guy in my cell. I'm like contesting. They're like, no, you got to deal with it. So they push him in my cell, right? Wow. We're going to get you out of here. We're going to find a way to get you out of here. So I'm trying to think of a way to get him out, right? Yep. First thing we do, I tell him. Because now the guards, when they tell him he's coming in my cell, they say he has a bottom bunk pass too. Oh. So I got to move all my shit to the top. So I'm really pissed off, man. Like, oh, man. So I tell him, don't take your meds, refuse your meds. Yeah. Or cheek them and spit them out. So he did that. And I didn't know what the reaction from him not taking meds were going to be
Yeah.
because I was young. I didn't know back then about anything about life. I didn't know anything. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know shit.
Yeah.
So I tell this guy to stop taking his meds. He does it. We fall asleep. I fall asleep that night. I wake up to a blood curdling scream, right? I wake up. Why? He's screaming. He's having a seizure, a grand mal seizure. Falls on the ground. He's flapping all around. Ah, bangs his head on the toilet. Blood's everywhere.
Oh,
So I hop down and I push the button, and pushing the button because there's a button inside your cell
yeah.
for the guards, and it like lights up or something for the guards to notify that there's a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing the button, and by the time the cops come, he snaps out of it and he's sitting on his bed and he's holding the thing on his eyes.
Oh,
And they're like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "He had a seizure." And I'm like, "He needs medical attention." They don't bring no doctor, nothing. They're just like, "He's good." But I keep pressing the button, like harassing them about, like, "Get the fucking guy out of here, man."
yeah.
Nope, they won't leave. They won't move him, right? I'm like, okay. Plan two. Initiate plan two.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
I'm getting this guy out. I don't care by any means. He's leaving.
yeah. Man.
So we had recreation coming up, right? Recreation was an hour long, 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
So I go, when they pop the door for recreation, I'll throw this battery at the cop. And I give him a AA battery.
Yeah.
I say, throw it at him and hit him with it. And he's like, okay. And I go, you want to get out of here, right? He's like, yeah. And I go, I want you out of here. So we're going to work together and we'll make it happen. So I'm telling him this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to whip this fucking battery at the cop in the bubble. Because the bubble is like it's like a wood desk, but it's round, right? And the cops could go in there and sit down and you could see them. Like, so they pop the doors. They only pop a couple for recreation at this prison because it's a gang prison.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, they have strict movement. You have to go guard certain places.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So they pop the door. This dude starts ripping his mattress apart and stuffing it in the fucking toilet and flushing it. So toilet water starts flooding everywhere. My shit is on the bottom. Like there's storage things, but it's on the bottom. So my stuff's getting wet. I start putting it all on the top. He slams the door open. He takes the battery, whips it at the cop. It whizzes by the cop's head. The cop goes, he thought it was a joke, bro.
Oh.
So I grab another AA battery and I give it to him. I say, hit him with it. So he gets the AA and he whips it and hit him right in his face, right in the cop's face. That was the last straw, bro. So he hit the cop in the face. He's stuffing the mattress in the toilet, flushing the thing. By this time, the goon squad shows up. And they have the mask on, shield, and they have a shield, and it has like metal thing on it that shocks you.
Oh.
It's like a cupped shield, and they push it on you and press this button. It's like 50,000 volts, man. It's insane. Yeah. I'll send you a picture of that too. Wow. So they come rushing in. They mace the guys, slam him on the ground, and fight. He's fighting them. The dude's getting the best of the cop. The guy's beating up the cop. I'm like, now when I was looking at this guy, I thought he was a punk. Like I didn't think he would do shit. Like he didn't look like a fighting type.
Yeah,
bro. He took the cops, slammed him on the ground. He's starting to beat the cops up. I'm like, oh man, like this shit's turning into something a little crazier than I thought it was gonna
Oh,
be. I just
wow.
wanted to move, man. I just wanted to move out of my cell. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't want all this to happen. So they end up beating up the guy pretty bad. They handcuff him, they're beating on him. They lock me in this other it's just a cell with a glass window,
Yeah.
and they lock me in there while they're taking care of this guy. They drag him up the stairs, don't by his head while he's handcuffed. They drag him up the stairs
Oh man.
backwards by his legs, and his head is hitting
Oh,
stairs on the way up. It
oh
wasn't funny, but I mean, it
yeah.
was what happened. And
Yeah.
so the cop lets me out of the glass room after they take him out of there, and he gives me a broom and says, "Clean up the mess." And that was it.
Yeah.
I mopped the mess up, and I put my shit back on the bottom bunk, and I waited for my next cellmate to show up.
Just hoping they don't have a bottom bunk pass.
Well, so the next cellmate I got, he didn't have a bottom bunk
Yeah.
pass, and I got to keep the bottom bunk. But
Yeah.
there's a lot more stories to go with this prison.
Yeah.
A lot of pretty crazy graphic stories. We're gonna get into them. There's a murder that occurs a couple days after that event with the my cellie who I wanted to move. A murder happens,
Yeah.
and then a riot breaks out, and I'm gonna explain all that to you on the next episode of Thomas Berryman TV.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Definitely, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time to even listen to my story.
Oh man, it's crazy. Like, yeah,
Hey,
insane.
man, I'm just getting started. The story
Yeah.
goes on, and it gets really wild.
Yeah.
But I want people out there to know I'm sober now. I live different. I live a whole different life than I used to. I am not the same person. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I try to help people. I volunteer in my community. I try to help people now the best way that I can. And I'm trying to convey that message. I try to tell you the chaoticness about my past so you guys don't have to go through the same thing I've been through. And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful message, Stax. And what advice would you give to a young kid now, like, coming up in the world?
Uh, my advice would be try to learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't got to make the same mistakes that other people did. You know, you don't have to go to prison. You don't have to get arrested. You don't ever have to deal with that type of thing. You can go through life. Things can happen to you in life, but you don't have to let them drag you down like I did. Like someone would die in my family. I would let that be the reason I drank. I would depression, anything. I mean, I got anxiety, so I needed to do drugs. I always had a reason I needed to do it. You don't need a reason. There's no reason. There's not a good enough reason out there for me to use drugs or alcohol. There's not enough drinks in the world for me to drink because I love alcohol. You know?
Wow.
That's what it is, man. It's keep it real. Got to keep it real. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure, man. And yeah, you work on a book too, eh?
Yeah, I got a book in the works, man. It's called, I really shouldn't give out the name, man. I want to bad.
Man, you got me.
But the book's coming out. It's coming out incredible. It's about my life. It's about my early life, um, all the way until I start podcasting. That's the mainly majority of the story. So the book name is The Staxx of Life, man, and it's gonna be dropping this January. It should be out by the end of the month. Hopefully, if I'm on track and everything falls into place, it'll be out by the end of the month. But if not, it'll be out a little past that because just crazy, chaotic, and I'm so busy with editing videos and doing interviews. It's just I'm just blessed to be able to do this and share my story with other people, man.
Yeah, the Stacks of life, and I love it.
The Stacks of Life. And you want to be on the lookout for Hungry Hill. Hungry Hill, the movie, is going to be dropping, man. It's getting filmed this year, and it's going to be incredible. Shout out to Chicky Chickatelli, Brian Hoyle, and Damien the Omen Trites. They're involved with that project, and it's going to be incredible, man. It's about organized crime in Springfield, Massachusetts, and there has not been a film like that out yet, and it's going to blow you guys away.
Man, can't wait for it. That'll be awesome. I love that shit.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, crazy. I'll send you the they have a little trailer for it, man.
Yeah, send it through to me, man.
Yeah, I will.
Hungry Hill.
Hungry Hill.
What's your top 3 favorite books?
Top 3 favorite books. My favorite book of all times is Papillon. It is a great book. It's about a guy who gets arrested for murder and sent to French Guiana prison. He escapes multiple times, ends up getting caught and brought back. He escapes and goes to Brazil, finds a beautiful woman, and settles down in paradise. And I read that book in prison. It was a great book. You know, all the Clancy books, all the Coon books, all those prison books. Shout out to all those books. But The Art of War is a really good book. The Secret is a great book to read. I like gangster books too. Larry Mazza's book's good. The Murder Machine. There's so many. Ori Spado's book. William Oldfield. There are so many that it's like hard to keep track of them all. But the best book of all is going to be The Staxx of Life, because it's going to be the realest shit you ever read.
It's going to be a #1 seller.
I hope so. I really do.
And just quickly, I guess, your lastly, what's your top 3 movies?
Goodfellas, #1. Back in the day, I was really into like New Jersey Drive and Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Strapped. That movie Strapped. Snowfall, the series Snowfall, and a lot of them, man. BMF, that's a good series. Queen of the South was good. There's another one. Animal Kingdom was a crazy fucking series, bro. That was a great one. There was one in Australia I watched about a guy. Mr. Between.
Mr. Between. Have you seen I think a good movie you've probably seen is Chopper?
No.
Man. Check out
What
Chopper.
I'll write it down right now.
Chopper.
Chopper. CHO.
CHOPPER. It's got Eric Bana. Yeah. Man, watch that as soon as you can. I want to hear your thoughts.
I will.
And it's real. It's like based on a real guy here, as his name, Chopper
Really?
Reed. Yo.
I'll check it out. I'll watch it tonight, man.
Yeah, man. Yo.
100%.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, yo, I got so many stories, man. I got a lot of them for you. Maybe we could do a series, and
man,
I could bring you through this twists and turns of my crazy life.
Yo, that'd be awesome.
Like, I didn't even tell you about my drug addiction days and all that craziness I've been through, man. I've had guns pulled on me. I've had crazy shit happen, crazy car accidents, just wild things. I traveled all over the country. I have stories for days.
Man, that's what I want. Let's do it. And you're awesome to talk to, man.
Yeah, man, I got you, man.
Well.
Hey, man. I think you're a great guy, and we could do some big things, man. We'll keep working on this and chip away at it and see how far we can get it going.
Yeah, I think we'll go good. Your top 3 musicians of all time, or bands, whatever.
I really liked Prodigy. Was my favorite rapper of all times. Prodigy, he was awesome, man.
Mobb Deep.
Wordplay, his ability to. And then my second is probably Nature. His name's Nature for Queens. He's a good rapper too, man. I met quite a few rappers. Shout out to Jadakiss. Shout out to 50 Cent. Buckshot Shorty from Boot Camp Click. all them guys, man. Smith and Wesson,
Wow,
Wu-Tang Clan, all the
that would have been
greats from back
awesome.
in the day.
I saw you
Yeah,
met
man.
Vlad too.
Vlad, shout out to Vlad TV. I'm really working and striving to do something big with my life. And my goal is to be somewhat similar to a situation like Vlad's in, where I can interview people and show them where I've been, but a
Yeah,
little bit different than Vlad does, you know?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
just can't wait to get my story out to the masses.
I can see it
And
happening.
yeah, man, I'm not gonna stop until it does happen.
Yeah, hey, you're a phenomenal storyteller, man. Like, and it's a real stories too, which is even better.
Thank
Like,
you, man. I really appreciate that.